would like to welcome you all to today's webinar, where we will go from monitoring to intelligence with the focus on getting insights on SAP Cloud Integration with Splunk and AI. So let's have a short look at the agenda of today and our presenters. So my name is Iris. I'll take you through today's integration landscape, the challenges that we're facing, and I will tell you about how our solution could help you. Then my colleague Madhuri will give you a demo so you can see how we can give you the best insights on Splunk. And lastly, my colleague Viral will tell you all about Splunky, our agent. So, and in the end, of course, there is time for a Q&A. So if you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat or in the Q&A. So talking about today's integration landscape or today's IT landscape in general, it's getting more and more complex with all the loose services that we have and all their connection. And because of the growth in components, it's harder to see what all is connected. And we believe that integration is always in the middle of your IT landscape, and that is why we focus on getting the best insights into your integration systems, so you get a good view of your IT landscape and of your business. Yeah, of course, integration monitoring isn't new, but often there's a lot of blind spots. We tend to focus on the technical side of monitoring. We're looking at logs, we're looking at metrics and the traces, but that information is always very technical, and it's not understandable for the business users or for any person that has no great technical knowledge of the system. And that is why we don't know if my order went through, why my hiring is delayed, or where the payment went that I'm expecting. This, of course, will impact your business, and by causing, for example, supplier delays or missing inventory, and you might not even manage your SLAs, which can lead to customer dissatisfaction, but also unhappy customers and unhappy colleagues. And that is why we need end-to-end process visibility. We need business impact-driven insights and cross-team alignment and transparency. And that is also what we're here for. With our solution for SAP Cloud Integration in Splunk as the base, we can make integration status as clear as checking a package delivery. And you all know how easy that is nowadays. And here's already a sneak preview of our monitoring solution that Madhuri will show you in a bit, and which can give you the good overview of your cloud integration system. There we can see some of the features that it has already, and all the connections that we can make within the solution. But before we go to the demo, I would like to take you through the product features. So it has quite some components, but we'll give you the 4 biggest ones. So the first one is the integration content, where you can see everything that is running on your SAP Cloud Integration tenant. Not just on one tenant, but you can monitor as many tenants as you'd like. So you can see the packages, flows, value mappings, everything that has been built. Then we have the runtime traffic, where we can see what is actually running at this moment, where you can monitor, analyze, and troubleshoot as well. Of course, we'll give you some security artifacts and data stores, where you can see the status of your certificates, key pairs, and everything you need to know around security. And we make sure you have the business end-to-end monitoring enablement. So use this as the base to start your end-to-end monitoring of your IT landscape. And of course, you notice in the title of today's webinar that AI was in it. And this is where AI comes in. We all know you have the errors but you don't know yet how to solve them, and it takes a lot of time to find a resolution. This is where our troubleshooting with AI dashboard comes in. We make sure all your errors and solutions are in one dashboard, one clear overview. So you can give an LLM of your choice. We make the connection and we make sure that you go from trouble to resolution within no time. And I think enough said for now. I think it's time for the demo so you can see how it actually works. So Madhuri, well, you can come in and take it away.
Yes, thank you. Um, is my screen visible?
Yes, now it is.
Ah, sorry. Okay, I think it's my screen is still visible, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you, Iris. And I think you have set this up perfectly because what Iris just mentioned or walked us through isn't just the problem statement. It is something most of us have lived through because what we have been trying to do is to answer a business question through a technical tool, or maybe we are also relying or waiting on IT to tell you whether your order was successfully processed or our order was actually, went through. So let me show you how we solve this in two layers, because that is exactly how the solution is built. The first layer is for our IT and integration team, and the second layer would be helpful for our business. And by the end of next few minutes, you will see how both worlds speak to each other. Okay. Uh, in front of my screen right now is the SAP CI runtime monitoring overview, where this is kind of a control room for our integration, where we could clearly see what is going on fine, what is not going fine, what is the issue as a part of the volume of message that is being processed for any time period and for any tenant. And I want to focus on this tenant drop down because for us it's possible to, because at customer landscape it does not depend that we only have one SAP CI tenant. It could be multiple architecture tenant where we could have a dev, QA and prod tenant. We can onboard data from multiple tenants and we can have a clear view in one dashboard itself. So here we get to see how many messages were processed in last 60 minutes for a particular tenant and how many of those were failed. And here we do have the overview of all the messages, in terms of its different status, where all the messages are time stamped and we get to see the message query, the correlation ID, the application message ID that you log from your SAP CI tenant. And then we also have few information about the leaderboard where you get to know which is the most used integration flow, which integration is taking the most amount of time, and the trend based on different status. But that's not it. If there is any issue, we do have a troubleshoot dashboard. Again, you can have multiple tenants onboarded, like I mentioned earlier, but we get to know the clarity of the failed message, because if the message is successful, it's a happy flow. But if it's failed, we would like to know the root cause of the failure, where exactly the failure happened, how can we fix it. So these information is something that we have shown in one place. And here, if you see in last 60 minutes, I have 305 errors. We also see which integration is contributing or which iFlow is contributing to the most amount of failure. We can have alerts on top of it, and we would like to prioritize it to get it fixed. And below, if you see here, I have a overview of all the failures in terms of, the iFlow name, which package does that iFlow belong to, which went into failure. Every errors are time stamped correctly. The time is basically the failure time that happened in SAP CI tenant, and what is the error message. We get to see the error message over here. But if we focus on the last two columns, we have two columns where we get to see the URL and view resolution. It's very important because if you click on any of the URL view, what it does is it takes the message ID of that message that went into failure and it redirects us using the proper authentication from Splunk into SAP CI tenant, where you get to see what exactly the error message is. And from there, we can also deep dive into the failure. But by the time it is opening up, I'll also focus on the last column, which is view. And if you click on the view, what it does is our AI component kicks in, where we get to see how we are going to resolve the issue. So if I show you, what it does is it charts out or brings upon the screen the step-by-step guide how we are fixing the issue. So it's really important, and it's very helpful for the IT and integration team and the ops team to see how we can fix the issue. And in the meantime, we also navigated from Splunk to SAP CI with that exact message ID in question, which failed. And from here, we can deep dive into fixing the issue. But before I jump into the business view, I would really briefly take some time to show you the component which is often ignored, which is basically the design time. And we do have a lot of components within the design time where we get to see the clarity of the package overview, different artifacts of value mapping, or whether it's related to iFlow or the connectors. But looking at the time, I would really focus on an important aspect, which basically is this dashboard where we get to see in any particular SAP CI tenant how many systems are there. Basically, if you see in the middle is SAP CI, which basically is the center uh, of my integration hub. And around this integration hub, around this center, I have all the systems or the adapters that is there in my tenant. So you get to see the chart like a visual map where all the systems are connected to my SAP CI to a particular tenant. But the beauty is that if I click on any of the adapter, what it does is it takes me to another dashboard, which is my connections dashboard, where I get to see how that adapter is consumed within my iFlow. So we get to see all the iFlows that is consuming my iDoc adapter and how it is configured, whether it's configured as sender, whether it's configured as receiver, or whether it's configured both ways. So if it's configured both ways, we get to see a bi-directional line from our SAP CI to that system itself. And what we are trying to achieve here is, for example, if an adapter goes into error, then it's easy for us to come here and see what iFlows are consumed with that adapter, with that connection, or without even guessing or without even opening the documentation, you can come here and see which iFlows are consumed by what adapters or the connection. So this is something that we achieve from here. Now from here, of course, we do have a lot many dashboards here in terms of security, how the key store is maintained, how the user credentials are maintained, because it's really impossible in SAP CI tenant to see which iFlows are consuming what user credentials, or which user credentials are configured in which iFlows, like a where used scenario. And that is what we have covered here perfectly fine. If you click on any of the user credential, it will basically drill down and show you all the iFlows consuming that user credentials. You get to see if it's just like a where used scenario that we have covered in one place. So this was the first layer where the integration team or IT team could get help of it. But I do also have a business dashboard, which will be very helpful to the business colleagues, where we get to see all the transactions or the orders in process. So if you see here, we do have 439 transactions, total transactions, out of which 307 were successfully processed. And for business, it's important because if you can be an owner of a process, you can still filter this dashboard based on the process owner that you belong to, and you could see what is the status of your transaction, how many of those are successful, how many of those. So we have segregated the failures based on the functional failure and integration failure, so that it's easy for the business or the integration team to reach out to the right set of people whom to assign the issue to. So if you see, we do have a number of transactions for process and country. So basically, these are all the leaderboards which tells you how the process is performing, how the sub-process are performing. And if your business is like spreaded over the world, you can still filter on the basis of operating country, how your country is performing, basically based on the volume of message, or the use case can be discussed later, whether we want to filter on the basis of failure, so that you can get in touch directly with the opco owner or the operating country owner to see how it's going on and what it's going on. And if you are owner of a process, for example, a finance process, what it does is it filters the dashboard based on my finance process. And I could see that I have integration failure. I click on it. what it does is it opens up the troubleshoot dashboard, not basically a troubleshoot dashboard, but a deep dive dashboard where you could see what is the integration failure, which transaction went into failure, high level information about the interface, your order ID, everything is time stamped perfectly fine. And if you want to see the history of the transaction, it will basically tell you what different platforms it has covered, so it was received perfectly fine in API Connect. That platform was successfully processed. Then it went into orchestration layer, which is my SAP PO. There also it was perfectly fine, and it failed in SAP ECC. So we would want to see what happened in ECC. What is the failure message? So if I click on it, it will tell me exactly what was the error description. It exactly tells me at what stage it failed, what was the operation it was performing while it failed. So everything is tagged to provide us with the visibility across the transaction or any order for that matter. So from here, we could conclude that how we are making the both worlds speak to each other in terms of a business and in terms of integration, technical. So from here, I would pass to my colleague Viral, where he will talk about the agent that is built on top of it to make life more easier and that's more interactive. So over to you, Viral. Thank you.
Yeah, then let me share my screen. Is it visible?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Thank you so much, Madhuri and Iris. So yeah, let's move ahead with Splunky, the agent that we built for Splunk. It's basically an NLP powered agent that helps user collaborate in just basic human language and instantly get insights from Splunk related to your integration tool. For time being, it is SAP Cloud Integration. So yeah, as you can see on the right side, there's a a very basic high level overview of how it works. And yeah, we can just go through the flow. And yeah, so first comes the integration layer where your SAP Cloud Integration relies. And it has iFlows, of course, and the MPL logs, which is your message processing logs. So it's all related to your transactional data. So that there is where the integration layer comes. After that, we have Splunk, where we index all these logs, the message processing logs, and you have dashboards on top of it, which Madhuri already highlighted in the demo. You have dashboards, you have alerts and queries running on top of the data. So this is basically where the observability layer comes. And on top of this, we build the agent, which is called Splunky. So which helps you analyze your overall health of your integration tool, and of course the important part that is related to failures and errors. So summarization of those errors, resolution. Yeah, so there is where the Copilot agent comes into picture. And then after that, you have your interaction or the communication layer where you can connect this agent to your daily collaborative tools like Teams, Outlook, even with WhatsApp. And if you have your website, we can of course integrate this agent with your custom website as well. So yeah, and yes, but why is like this agent needed in the first place itself? Like what is the value that it is adding? So features like zero login access to insights. I'll explain this in demo as well. Query free intelligence. You don't need to write complex Splunk queries. If you, of course, we are here to write those queries, but if you just want to, uh, want to ask a high level question about your integration tool, you can just go on and have a chat with the agent. Then democratization of data. This is basically the self-service analytics. I would say the real-time analytics, and it's very important for colleagues who are not that technically involved, who are not involved too much into Splunk. So for those colleagues, this is really very important aspect. Then seamless collaboration, of course, I already highlighted that you can just integrate that with your daily tools. And faster incident detection and resolution, of course. So you can enable notifications. Just for example, if something goes down, if something is not correct, if something needs your attention, you just enable notifications and then you'll have that ASAP. So yeah, that was a high level overview of what the agent is for. And we can move on with the demo as well, which in which I'll explain how it works, and like I'll have a chat with it as well. Yeah, so that's how it looks. Splunky is the name that we provided. I'll just greet him. Yeah, so these are the two use cases that it's providing as of now as a response, where you can, if you want to go ahead with your data related to the volume of the messages or the transactional data, basically the volume, so then it provides you the message for view message count. Then the other use case or the other option is related with your error occurrence. So just for example, if I want to understand what's the error that is occurring very frequently, or which has the highest frequency, because that might be sensitive, that might be something which I would need to fix. So that these are the two options it provides as of now, but believe me, we have a lot coming on anyways. So I'll just click on this view message count. It says what category of messages would you like to track. So just for example, if I see for failed ones. So now this is it's performing the calculations on the backend, and it's trying to bring the data that you have in your landscape. This is connected, this is customizable, can be connected with any of the landscape, your SAP integration suite. So yeah, it says the count of failed messages is 25. So see, this is the power, this is the value it is adding. We didn't even went on to Splunk. We have of course a data into Splunk, but we didn't need to log in there. We just ask some questions to this agent, and that's what it brings me. So that's the power of this agent. And it says anything else for me, so I'll say yes, because we can have a check of this data related to error as well. So if I just click on the other option, what is the most frequent error occurrence? Yeah, so it says the error that occurred most frequent is this. That's the description it is providing. It's something related to 401 unauthorized. So of course it would be related to your credential. That's what it highlights as well. And it also highlights how many times it occurred. So it says it occurred 11 times, which is, I would say, a lot. If you have it may be even more if you have a bigger landscape. And these are the messages, of course, you would like to fix. So and on top of it, it provides the details of the iFlow where it occurred last. So it says there's some iFlow name VTP audit log where it occurred at the latest, and then you have the link, you have the message UID as well. What's the particular message which is failing, and it's providing the link to your CI tenant as well. So if I just click on this one, it will navigate me to the CI tenant. We can let it load, and we can see for the other option as well, which is this one. See, it also highlights to see the details of the iFlows where it occurred, or all the iFlows. If I just want to check where is this message occurring, if there are multiple iFlows, more than one, I can just click here. Yeah, it takes me to Splunk, and it lists all the iFlows with their message UIDs where this particular error is occurring. So right now I can see only VTP audit log, but because that might be the only iFlow which has these messages. But yeah, it occurred 11 times, and of course I would like to fix it. Maybe it is failing continuously. You have different message UIDs, and you have the web link as well, so you can navigate to your tenant from here. Meanwhile, I think this would have loaded. Yeah, so this was a particular message that we navigated from the agent, and yeah, it highlights that there is something going on with your credentials, and you can go on and fix that. So yes, this is it. And on top of this, like, this is the part of the error of knowing what the error is. And if you want some resolution as well, if you want resolution steps, that is also what it can perform. So it asks me, do you want the resolution for this error? I'll say yes. So it will go on the internet, it will look for community websites. If you have known error DB, we can connect with that as well. We can connect with any LLM of your choice as well. So just to get those resolution steps. And yes, this is what we have. It summarizes error for you, and it provides you resolution steps as well. Like, these are the steps you can perform, what could go wrong as this error is happening. So this is all that it highlights. Yeah, it again asks anything else for me. I'll say no, because we have covered the use cases. Yeah. So yes, this was about the demo, and I'll go back again to this. Yes. So yeah, that was it. It's Q&A time. Any feedbacks, any suggestions if you have, any questions if you have, you can ask them in the Q&A section. You can visit our LinkedIn community as well. The QR code is there already, and you can visit our website as well just to get in touch with us. So yeah, and thank you all for joining the webinar.
Yes, thank you everyone. But please feel free to contact Max or Hugo if you want to have a detailed information about any of the component. So we would be very happy to help you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you both. I don't see any questions at this moment, so I think we can close the webinar for today. Thank you all for attending, and I'll wish you a good rest of the day.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Bye bye.